Hi everyone, it's Sam from Exotic Aqua, and today I wanted to show you like a behind the scenes tour of our jellyfish lab. Kind of how everything works, all of our tanks, what we have currently in the lab, all that kind of stuff. So, tag along. So, here is the door. And when we enter, the first thing you will see here on the left is our like little workbench area. This is where we do most of our kind of like work. We have a lot of space, a deep sink, a bunch of just stuff lying around that we need, water tests, some prime, some fresh water, fertilizer, oops, you know, all the kind of stuff you need to just like do work in the lab. pH testers, some products for testing, all that kind of stuff. It's a bench. And then over here we have our fridge. This is where we keep some of our polyps. Now we are in the process of moving the polyps from like these jars into tanks, which I'll show you later, but these are all still jars. So these are usually our colder species, a lot of nettles in here and egg yolks, that kind of thing. But yeah. Over here we have our little experiment corner. This is our green water culture, which we use to kind of feed our rotifers, which are down here, which we are kind of experimenting with as an alternative live food source for Ephyrae, especially the more stubborn Ephyrae that won't grow. But we've been struggling to keep a culture alive, so, you know. This is a little tank for our baby clownfish. So we have been breeding clownfish, actually. This is our first two batches. This is the sole survivor, if it'll focus, of our first batch. And this is our second batch, so evidently we're getting better. But before they go in here, the eggs go in here. There's like a little flow here, and it does pretty well. We get a decent hatch rate. But yeah, that's this corner. Oh, we also have, you know, a reef tank here. Very pretty corals in here. This needs a desperate clean though. Anyway, let's get to the jellyfish. So over here we have our first system. This is the tropical system. Lights are off now. This is the only system with like a full spectrum light because some species we keep in here are in photosynthetic. We had upside downs up until today. We sold them, so it's empty now, but that's an example. We also have these really interesting Hawaiian strain moon jellies. These are different from the typical moon jellies we get. They're a lot thinner and more translucent. Let me see if I can get a good clip. They also live a lot warmer. These guys are in here at 25 degrees. Yeah, just interesting creatures. And then we have some Phylorhiza punctata over here, which we have been having some trouble with. They look great up until about an inch or an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches, and then they start to get kind of wonky. We're still working on kind of getting the larger species looking better. That's the tropical system. Oh yeah, we also have blubbers in here at the moment. These guys are gorgeous, but they don't live very long, like 6 months at max. So we enjoy them while we can. Some more polyps here. Big polyp tanks over here. These are our moons. And there's me. Hello. Speaking of moons, lots of moons here. We have a lot of moons right now. This tank's full of them, 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 and this tank's full of them. The thing about these moon jelly tanks is that when they strobulate, they create a lot of babies, like thousands and thousands a week. So, you know, we have a whole ton. And that's not even all. Like we have this tank down here, all of these tanks full of moons. It's kind of crazy. Oh, of course, all of these tanks full of moons. Just moons everywhere. Oh, these aren't moons. These are barrel jellyfish. Rhizostoma pulmo, I think, or pulmo. Very cute, very pretty. I like these. What else do we have? We have some cannonballs here. Now these aren't our best go. We have some quite nice ones, like this guy. He's looking good. But our next batch is looking a lot better. We also have had a recent boom in like Atlantic sea nettles, which is great. I really like these guys. They look particularly good under colored lighting, like pink lighting especially. And they don't get that big, so for a sea nettle, they're quite nice. So we have 3 whole tanks of these guys. And then here are, is our new batch of cannonballs, and these guys are looking a lot healthier, a lot more active. Not sure what happened to the last batch, but maybe it was just a one-off thing. Okay, let's go over here. Marbles. Now I'm gonna say this a lot, but I really like marbles. I think they're really pretty. I like their kind of thick, oral arms. I think they look very pretty. They've been growing really well for us as well. So, yeah. Dwarf lion's manes. We also have a lot of these recently. Quite a few tanks. These are a very nice species. Bit of an oddball and very new to the hobby, but not that hard to keep. As long as you get the temperatures right, they can go up to 23 degrees Celsius, I think. But, I mean, yeah, they're really pretty. They stay active for a long time, like they pulse really actively. And yeah, they don't even get that big. These are our biggest dwarf lions. They're called dwarf lions for a reason. They aren't very big, especially in comparison to their larger counterparts, the lion's manes, which can get up to like 6 feet long. It's pretty crazy. That's taller than me. Anyway, here are some more marbles. Oh, the refugium light is kind of in the way, but yeah. And a group of small purple stripes. They actually are doing pretty well considering that this is quite warm waters for them. But yeah. Our Ephyrae tanks here, these are looking pretty good actually, but since we've recently moved all of our polyps to these tanks over here, our strobilation has decreased a little bit as the polyps are still getting used to their new environment. So our Ephyrae tanks aren't like chock full like they were 2 months ago. That's good because we kind of don't have the space for any more jellyfish. But yeah, at the moment we have dwarf lion's manes, which we're a dwarf lion's mane factory at this point. We produce so many of them. Some more Atlantic sea nettles. We've finally had a group of maybe 4 black sea nettle Ephyrae. One just went past, but they're really hard to see without a light. But take my word for it. Cannonballs and some icicles. Yeah, okay, let's make our way over to the cold room. It's a bit loud in here. I hope the mic still captures my voice. This is called the cold room because it's cold. We have the AC blasting in here and a fan. It's about 16 degrees ambient air temperature, that's Celsius, because these are generally the more colder species that we have. So here we have a group of Pacific sea nettles. They're looking quite nice, quite active. Some of our smaller egg yolks, but we have another tank full of them. And then we have our lion's manes. These are the full-size lion's manes. We have a whole bunch of Ephyrae. The trick is now, can we grow them out to full size? That remains to be seen. I mean, not full size, but large enough to sell. Here are some more polyps. These are our colder polyps as well. Purples, Pacifics, and blacks. And yeah, here we have a group of Japanese sea nettles, Chrysoara pacifica. Not to be confused with the Pacific sea nettles, which are Chrysoara fushishins. Don't ask me who came up with that name. Anyway, yeah, they're looking pretty alright. And speaking of Chrysoara fushishins, here they are. As far as sea nettles go, these are one of the coolest. I mean, they look great. And they get quite large though, and they sting. They sting pretty bad, but they look very cool, so that makes up for it, kind of. We have a lot of tanks of, we have 3 of these big tanks full of them. We also have, oh, I lied, 4 tanks full of them. We also have the display tank outside with a few, so we have quite a few of these at the moment. But yeah, look how pretty they are. And then of course we have these gorgeous purple striped sea nettles, Chrysoara colorata. They've been here for quite a while, but I mean, they're really pretty. I kind of don't want them to go because they look so good. These are probably the worst stingers out of everyone we have here. Chrysoara colorata, those will hurt, especially at this size. I just kind of wish we had a tank large enough to really do them justice so you can see their full fins. Maybe I can convince my boss to move them into the display tank. I think they're really pretty. It's like cotton candy, their oral arms. Look at that. My God. And yeah, speaking of the display tank, let's go out and check them out. So back the way we came, out the door. And we have our first display tank over here, the one with the Chrysoara Filtrations. If you watched our like 30-minute spin cycle video, that was this tank. They look gorgeous in here, but you already know that, so like, wow. Sometimes I'll just like catch myself standing here for like 5 minutes just looking at them. I'm supposed to be working, but you know. We also have our AIO display tanks here. Lights are off. Let me turn them on really quick. These are our AIO tanks. Is the pump not on? I think the pump might not be on. The pump's not on. The pump wasn't on, that's why the jellyfish are all at the bottom. But these are our AIO tanks that I'm really quite proud of. They look quite good. I'll come back to this when the pump's on and like they're moving again. And here are some more Chrysoara pacifica, the Japanese sea nettles, in a big display tank. Also doing very well. There's not much light over here, so forgive me for that, but you can still appreciate how pretty they are. And here is our last moon jelly display tank. Now the moons aren't quite big enough yet to fill this in, but once they do get big enough, this is going to look really good. If it's like a bit more dense with moon jellies. I think translucent jellies in these kinds of like colored light tanks look the best because they basically reflect the light that comes at them. Let's see. Yellow, nah. Purple. Ooh, that looks cool. Let's see if it can focus. Yeah, it just like reflects the light from the sides right back at you and it looks so cool. And yeah, oh, jellies are back up again. Whoops, okay. The jellies are back up again, they look a lot better. Our AIO tank. And honestly, I'm quite proud of this one, how the AIO tank turned out. Looks pretty good. Especially with the Atlantic sea nettles in here. And our smaller one there, as a kind of demo. But yeah. So I think that about wraps up the tour of our... Oh, not true. I want to show you guys one more thing. In fact, this is a very nerdy thing actually. But I want to show you guys our filtration because, okay, this is a pretty big sump, right? Like, it's big. Bioreactor tower thing, massive skimmer, filter socks and baffles everywhere. It's pretty big. But we have two more. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, we have one of these sumps for every system. We have a total of like 6 sumps in the whole lab. I just think it's really cool just how much filtration we have. That's also part of the reason why we can keep the moon jelly so dense, especially in the tank down here, just because we have insane filtration. But yeah, so I think that about wraps it up for the tour of our jellyfish lab. I'll leave you at the end with this cool shot of the reef tank. Let me know if you enjoyed it, let me know what else you want to see, and thank you very much for watching.